Jai Srimanarayana. Hello everyone, I am the Pauranika. Welcome to the 20th episode of Sri Mahabharata as written by sage Vedavyasa. This episode is in continuation to the Sambhava Parva of Adi Parva. Mesmerized by the beauty of Satyavati, King Shantanu wanted to marry her. He went to Satyavati's father Dasa to ask her hand in marriage. Dasa said, Maharaja, when Satyavati was born, at that very moment I decided to give her to a great man. You are a great king, and even if I search all the three worlds, I wouldn't find someone better than you. I have no hesitation in marrying her off to you. However, I have a condition. If you promise to fulfill that, I can accept this alliance. King Shantanu smiled and said, Dasa, tell me your desire. If it is reasonable, I will accept. If not, I won't. Then Dasa said, Bharata, I want the son born to my daughter and you to be the king after you. If you are fine with it. Though Shantanu's heart was filled with Satyavati, he did not accept Dasa's condition and returned to his capital Hastinapura. One day, when King Shantanu sat in a meditative posture getting ready for his dhyana, his son Devabrata came to him. He sat next to the king and asked, Father, I see you are a lot worried these days. May I know the reason? You stopped talking to us, stopped going for rides on your horse. You appear to be thinking something all the time. The kingdom is safe and sound, and all the kings are loyal to us. What is bothering you? King Shantanu sighed and said, Son, I'm just trying to focus on dhyana. The reason is that you're my only son, born in such great lineage. You're a great warrior who can defeat all the worlds, I have no doubt about it. But what in this world is eternal? I don't want to remarry, but I'm bothered about a family line. The learned ones say that having one son is as good as having none. While I think of having more sons, I also know that death cannot touch you unless in a battlefield. Devabrata, this is the cause of my worry. Devabrata, the son of mighty Ganga, thought deeply, rose up, bowed to his father and left. From there, he directly went to the minister and asked him if he knew something about his father and the thoughts that were running in his mind. Prince, I got to know that king wanted to marry a maiden, but her father had some concerns over giving her to the king. I do not know any further details, he said. Gangeya, who was hell-bent on helping his father, then went to the Sarathi, the charioteer of King Shantanu, and asked him, Sarathi, you are my father's charioteer and therefore his good friend. You should know that my father wanted to marry a fine lady. Can you tell me what was the concern there? Then the Sarathi said, Prince, you are right. Our king saw a fisherwoman by name Satyavati and wished to marry her, but her father, Dasa, imposed a condition. He would give her only if the king promises him that his daughter's son will become the king after Shantanu Maharaja. King thinks that it is unfair towards you. Hence the hesitation, I believe. Devabrata heard the Sarathi keenly. He sent messages to the fellow kings under the kingdom of Hastinapura and along with the kings and elders went to Dasa to ask for Satyavati for his father Shantanu. Dasa received all of them respectfully. When Devabrata spoke about the alliance, Dasa raised his concern again. Prince, my daughter is born of a great lineage. She is not an ordinary woman. She is born from a fish and is the daughter of the great Rajarshi Uparicharavasu of kingdom Chedi. I wish for her son to be a king. That's what I wanted for her since the time I accepted her as my daughter. Dasa, then hear. Right now I am making the promise. I urge everyone, the beings we can see and the ones we can't, to listen to me. I am relinquishing my claim to the throne. I shall never become a king. Will that help, Dasa? On hearing such woe, Not just the kings around, but the Devatas were also astonished. Dasa hesitantly responded, Prince, while you have relinquished your claim, you cannot stop your children from wishing for the throne, right? Devavrata then said, If that is your concern, I am taking another vow. I shall never have any progeny in this lifetime. The Devatas, Yakshas and Siddhas were surprised at the terrible vow and called him Bhishma. A shower of flowers fell on him from the sky. Dasa was content and he gave his permission to Satyavati. Bhishma then got onto his chariot and invited Satyavati. Ma, please get onto the chariot. I will take you to our kingdom. The chariot rushed to Hastinapura, leaving a trail of dust behind. King Shantanu was taken aback when he heard about Bhishma's woe. He then remembered his conversation with Ma Ganga. He remembered her telling him that the boy will be an embodiment of Dharma, a great warrior, but will have no progeny. He thought that he needs to have children to extend the Kuru lineage, as Bhishma was destined to leave no heir. He then married Satyavati and they had two sons, Chitrangada and Vichitraveerya. At right age, Chitrangada was coronated as the crown prince. Later, after few years, King Shantanu left the human world and Chitrangada took his place as the king under the guidance of Bhishma. Chitrangada had a sharp tongue and one day he got into an argument with a Gandharva by same name, which led to a battle. They fought in the Kurukshetra field, in which King Chitrangada was killed by the Gandharva. Bhishma was shattered by the news. He composed himself and along with Ma Satyavati coronated Vichitraveerya, who was still a little boy, as the king of Hastinapura. As the king, with his youngest brother on the throne, he led the affairs of the kingdom and became its protector. When Vichitraveerya had come of age, Satyavati and Bhishma decided to get him married. They got to know that the king of Kashi had announced Swayamvaram of his three daughters Amba, Ambika and Ambalika, where the girls would choose a man of their choice. Bhishma went to Varanasi for the Swayamvaram to win the girls for his brother. In a huge courthouse of the palace, the kings from various kingdoms assembled, adorned in fine silk and jewellery. The three girls were decked up with garlands in their hands, wishing to choose a husband. They walked past one after the other. When they reached Bhishma, they were taken aback at the sight of the old man. The other kings who gathered around laughed at Bhishma. They mocked him for his age and said, The great Bhishma has come to break the promise and bring disrepute to his family. Why is this old man with grey hair and wrinkled skin seeking a wife at this age? Bhishma, who couldn't tolerate their insults any longer, rose up in his mighty form. He took the girls onto his chariot. He then turned around and said to the kings, Taking a woman to a man to make them enter into a holy matrimony is also an acceptable form of marriage. I am taking these girls now. If any of you are courageous enough, try to stop me. He said so and raised his horses. The kings were agitated. They quickly started removing their jewellery to wear their armors. They hopped onto their chariots and chased Bhishma. A battle took place between them. All the kings together fired 10,000 arrows on the lone warrior Bhishma. However, Bhishma fired winged arrows that broke all the 10,000 arrows in the midair. Then the kings surrounded him and showered arrows on him in all the directions. Bhishma stopped them and also shot 3 arrows at each of the kings. The battle resembled the battle of Devas and Asuras. Bhishma broke the arrows, armors, flags and also the arrogance of the kings with his battle prowess. As he returned to Hastinapura, King Salva followed him. "Stop! Stop!" he screamed from behind. Bhishma got angry and turned back with a frown on his face to face Salva. He resembled fire without smoke. As they started fighting, other kings became audience to the fight and watched keenly. King Salva shot hundreds and thousands of arrows at Bhishma, which hurt the old man. The kings cheered for Salva, and Bhishma got angrier. He then fired Varunastra, which hit the 4 horses of Salva's chariot. While countering the arrows of Salva, he killed Salva's charioteer. He left Salva defeated and went back to his kingdom. Bhishma assumed the role of a father and gave the daughters of King Kasi to Vichitraveerya. At the time of marriage, the eldest of the girls told Bhishma that she was in love with King Salva, which was reciprocated by the king as well. "My father approved of our alliance too, and I wished to choose him that day in the Swayamvaram," she said. Then Bhishma consulted Brahmins well versed in the Vedas and told Amba to go back freely. Vichitraveerya then married Ambika and Ambalika and lived happily for 7 years. However, Vichitraveerya suddenly fell ill and succumbed to Kshaya disease, leaving no heir to inherit the throne. Bhishma was shattered, yet on the advice of elders and his mother, he conducted the last rites to his little brother with a heavy heart. After the rites were completed and the affairs settled to normal, Satyavati came to Bhishma and said, "Son, I think the time has come for you to become king. Take the responsibility of the kingdom and also the wives of your late brother. Don't let the Kuru line end with you." "Mother, please, don't say so. I can't break my vow, even at the cost of the world. I shall never marry. I shall never be a king," Bhishma said. "Then what will happen to the people, Bhishma? What will happen to the kingdom, to the mighty lineage of Bharata? What will happen?" Satyavati complained. Bhishma thought for a long while and said, "When such times arose in the past, the Kshatriya women had kids with learned sages who are not susceptible to lustful thoughts and installed the sons so born as the kings on the throne. Find a learned sage who can help us," said Bhishma. After a long time, a small smile crept onto the lips of Ma Satyavati, thinking about her firstborn son, Vyasa. Thank you. Jai Sriman Narayana.